In an interview with the makers of this game, the lead developer said that his intention was to make your thumbs bleed while you play it. Hey, I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today we do a review of Defender 2000 on the Atari Jaguar.
Second Opinion Games.
Like the trending Tempest 2000 and Missile Command 3D, Defender 2000 is just taking three essential games and plugging them all into one cartridge. You have the classic Defender, Defender Plus mode, and Defender 2000. So we're going to take a look at each of them and how they play, and see if this game is really worth the really high price it often fetches. Taking a look at the first classic Defender game, and it's just like the arcade version. Matter of fact, I think this is a direct port. It's extremely fun to play. Unfortunately, you can't just hold down the fire button here. You have to tap it like crazy, but I am totally okay with that because you need to be very careful while you're playing this game. See, you can shoot the little people that you're trying to save. See aliens come down, try and take them. If the alien can get them all the way to the top of the screen, it turns into a super alien that are insanely hard to kill. Now, there's more than just that you have to worry about. Sometimes there's these ships that leave mines behind, which is insanely difficult if you're going really fast, so you have to really kind of take your time. Then there's also these little tiny red micro flea things that just fly all over the place, and you have to try and take those out. That's pretty difficult, but eventually you get the hang of it and able to figure it out. So, when they do start kidnapping the people, try and shoot them, but don't shoot them before they get too high off the ground, otherwise they'll go splat when they hit the ground. So, sometimes you have to try and catch them and drop them off. The game gets really hard, especially around level 10. You do have a smart bomb to help you that basically clears everything on the screen, which you're going to have to learn to master in order to make it very far in this game at all. Also, at the top of the screen, you see like a little radar thing, so you have a good idea of where the enemies are and what you're doing, and that really helps out a lot. However, if the aliens take all of the people off the planet, all of a sudden it becomes super freaking difficult, so to the point where you can't even do anymore. You might as well just throw down your controller. You're just playing for points at that point. And points are the name of the game here. Basically, you're just trying to see how much you can get. So, that's Classic Defender. Moving on to Defender Plus mode, and you'll see more of the same. The only difference is that this time the graphics are a little more psychedelic. Your main character moves really fast now, and you can hold in the fire button to unleash a devastating attack of missiles. Also, there's these little cube things that can warp you to other worlds, but I try to generally just avoid those because they make the levels last longer, because then you have to clear more enemies. I'm not really quite sure what the heck is going on here, and it's really trippy and a lot more difficult too. A little bit later you'll run into these giant boss things that just take you out immediately, so I really haven't got a chance to play this as well as I should. The bottom line is that Defender Plus is a pretty good distraction, but it's not as good as Defender, and probably not as good as the next game on this list. Which brings me to Defender 2000, the game that you bought this for, assuming you just didn't want to play Classic Defender at least. And here it is. There is 100 levels here, which means you're going to need to devote about 6 hours of your life to beat this game. The same rules apply as Defender Plus, except for the fact that the graphics are a bit cleaner and very well done. And this time you only see one smart bomb up in the corner, though they can multiply. The guys look a little bit more believable. The voices are pretty much excellent. You still have to worry about if you kill every single person. The power-ups are far more plentiful. Sometimes you can even get a force field, which basically makes you bounce off of things than if you hit them. However, you might think that I'm doing pretty good here, but I'm really not. Basically, I just stare at the very top of the screen, the map screen, the entire time. I rarely look down from that, which means the game is really not that fun. I use that map screen to determine when people are being kidnapped, but not only just that, I use it to see all the enemies, and overall, I'm not even looking at the beautiful backgrounds, the bright colors, or the deep gameplay here at all. I'm just focused on that top screen for 100 levels. That's pretty ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? The 100th level is full of just camels that destroy you really, really fast. You die and die and die. If they didn't hand out lives in this game like it was freaking candy, I would have never made it this far, and I would have never beaten this 100th level. Also, I did stack all my smart bombs, and eventually I ended up beating the game by spamming them like crazy, because getting in a shootout with this camel is insane and completely pointless, because they will take you out before you even get a chance to take them out. So when you beat the game, you don't get any cutscene or anything, it's just a wall of text, which says, "Congratulations, you're a master at wasting 6 hours of your life." It is pretty fun. The sound effects are great. There is Pro Controller support here too, so if you have a Pro Controller, you're going to have a good time, and if you just have the standard controller, no different here. Honestly, I kind of like playing the game on the standard controller, and didn't see a real need for the Pro Controller at all either. But I didn't even touch on some of the added features of this game. And sometimes you could go to a warp room, where immediately you hear the opening themes of Beethoven's Symphony, where it goes da-da-da-da, you know what I mean. And basically, it's like a tube sliding thing. You're just moving left and right, and it is really, really hard. If you manage to complete this little bonus level, then you will warp 5 levels ahead, which will save you lots and lots of time. However, it's really hard to get this tube sliding thing right, so you're probably going to fail the first couple times you get into it. If you get a high score in any of these games, and you put in Nolan's name, for obviously Nolan Bushnell, then you'll unlock a weird version of Pong, which has some weird robot noises, and it's extremely colorful and kind of fun to play, although I am a bit of a Pong master, and this was really, really easy for me. I guess the game's called Plasma Pong because you're playing with plasma. I don't know. Matter of fact, you might see that I've been scored against here, but honestly, the only times I got scored against is when I let the computer have it. I was just trying to mess around with it. But I beat it and nothing else happened. So that's almost all I have to talk about it, except for one more thing with this game. See, if you put in the right code at the right time, and you enter Defender Plus mode with using the A button instead of the B button, then you can play as a digitized sprite of one of the developer's girlfriends, which is the sheep, which they named Flossie, and camels down at the bottom of the screen. I do like how when you hit your thrust boosters that the little tail flaps opened and fire comes out of Flossie's butt. And if you really want to know how crazy the people are at Atari, this sheep does have a name, which I mentioned many times now. It's Flossie. And it is, quote, the prettiest sheep in the world. Those people at Atari are pretty weird people, and I really don't understand. Personally, I don't find this sheep sexually attractive at all. So overall, Classic Defender is exceptional and nearly worth the price of admission in this alone. You have that crazy game of Plasma Pong, which is insane but really doesn't hold my interest, but I'm happy they threw it in there. You have Defender Plus mode, where you could play as a sheep, and it's good for laugh, but I really don't like this version of the game. And then you have Defender 2000, which goes on forever, but it is kind of fun for the first hour maybe. You don't have to play to level 100, don't do that to yourselves, even if you do want to see the crazy, crazy camels. The sound effects are all good, the graphics are great, and it is amazing how fast you can move, which usually ends up killing you, but it is what it is. This is a great game, and a great trophy to have to top off your entire Jaguar collection. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm sorry this review went so stinking long, but this was the last of the original 43 Atari Jaguar games, and I reviewed every single one of them. So I bet you think I'm done with the Jaguar now? Nuh-uh. I have at least 6 more Atari Jaguar games right in front of me, ready for me to review. So, if you love the Jaguar and you even tolerate my voice just a little bit, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you again, guys. And one more thing, what is up with that obsession with the sheep? Seriously, someone tell me in the comments. Thanks again.